They are not going to do the things that are right by you, the American people, which means lessening the tax burden. They're not going to do the things that are right by you, the American people, which means cut back on the spending. We should sit back and look at every single government agency and program that's been created since 1970 on. And first of all, across the board, 15% reduction right now. And then we need to look and see, are they viable? Do they make sense? How do they benefit? How do they fit within the mandates of the Constitution to establish justice, to support our general welfare, to provide for our common defense, to secure the blessings of liberty for each and every one of us? If we don't get back to understand that this is a constitutional republic, which means rule of law is preeminent, which means that the respect of the individual, the liberal progressive legislative agenda is all about the collective. It's all about putting us into groups and pitting us against each other. And that is not what is America about. America is about empowering the individual, not enslaving the individual. And that's what we have to get away from. Each and every time there's a tax that is created that takes a little bit more of your liberty away. Because as my daughters always say, Dad, can we go to the movie this week? Well, I'm sorry, because Mr. Obama just took Dad's money. If we don't get back to realizing the basic principles, Keynesian economic theory of tax and spend did not work. It has been always written and tested that where taxation is lightest, revenues increase. But until you get people in Washington, D.C. that are concerned about you being empowered, not their own self-interest, not their own special interests, we're heading down the road to perdition. And if we're not careful, because they're afraid of you, they're afraid of your voice, they know that you're coming after them. This summer, be on the lookout for an amnesty bill. And if an amnesty bill comes through, that means 12 to 15 million new citizens that the Acorn and the SEIU machine will get out there and register them and vote. And guess what? Are they going to be in the production class? No. Or they're going to be in the entitlement class?
Entitlement.
And therefore, the next thing you know, it becomes 55% and creeps on to 60%. And the United States of America, as we know it, the United States of America that my grandparents and my parents left to me, will be gone. I'm asking one simple thing of you. For 22 plus years of my life, when that phone rang, and many of you never knew who I was, I answered that phone call. I left my wife, I left my daughters, because I knew that it was important for you to sleep peacefully at night. I knew it was important for you to have your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. What I seek to do now is to take off the fatigues, take off the boots, put on a suit and tie, but continue to honor the oath that I took on the 31st of July, 1982, when it said I would support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and there is no statute of limitations on that oath. I don't need to sign a pledge. I already signed my pledge back in 1982. This is our time. This is the defining moment. This is a decisive moment for the future and the legacy of the United States of America. And as Joyce said, I don't want to sit around one day and look at my children and grandchildren and say, I didn't have the courage to do it. I don't want to sit around and say, I didn't have the commitment to do it. I don't want to sit around and say, I didn't have the conviction. I didn't have the character. I think that now, we are on the edge of the greatest moment that the United States of America will ever know. Our greatest years are ahead of us, not behind us. And I need each and every one of you to believe that message and take it back to your friends. Take it to your liberal friends. Because you know what? Sooner or later, they're going to get tired of hearing it. But they need to know we're not going to lay down. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to allow them to continue to nationalize our production. We're not going to allow them to continue to create and expand the entitlement and the welfare class. We stand against the nanny state. We're not going to allow them to continue to create this debt so that China owns our foreign policy. We are not going to allow them to ruin the country that our founding fathers left to us. saying this. I'm the liberals' worst nightmare. They cannot afford to have a young man from the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, to rise up in this country, because I completely invalidate all of their social welfare policies that have been tearing up our country. So this is a fight, ladies and gentlemen. You know that they're coming after me. And I want to know, are you ready for a fight? We've got 7 months to go. Now, a lot of the liberals get upset when I say bayonets. That's because they don't know anything about American history. It's not about me wanting to get a bayonet and go out and start stabbing people. It's about the spirit that word meant. Go back and read and understand what happened on the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg with Colonel Joshua Chamberlain. When all seemed lost, when he was holding the extreme flank of the Union Army of the Potomac, he was attacked constantly and constantly and constantly. Casualties rose, ran out of water, ran out of ammunition. The men of the 20th Maine looked at Chamberlain and said, "Sir, shall we surrender?" Chamberlain said one word. He said, "Bayonets." And on that day, they won the Battle of Little Round Top. The Battle of Gettysburg was won, which changed the course of the Civil War, which changed the course of this country. And that's why I say bayonets, because there's power in that word. Just the same as when the 101st Airborne Division was surrounded at Bastogne and they asked them to surrender, General McCullough sent one word back. He said, "Nuts." When you see the liberals, you go and tell them one word, "Nuts." We are going to take this country back for our children. God bless you all, and thank you for being here.